Shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Hello everyone, how's it going? My name is Elias, and in today's video I'm bringing you guys my summer TBR. So as you can see here, I have a list of books because this summer it's all about the backlist books. So for the next few months, I'm strictly hoping to read only books that I own from my bookshelf because I'm trying to whittle down the number of books that are on my TBR, specifically the books that I own. So currently, these are books that I own that I picked out from my bookshelf that I've been meaning to get around to, or books that I've been really wanting to read. And so I've compiled essentially a summer list of backlogged titles. And fun fact, even though there are around, I want to say 12 to 13 books on here, there are some books that I actually can't show you guys because it's hopefully for an experimental TBR that I'll be doing later in the next couple of months. So hopefully that'll go well without a hitch. But in this video, I will give you guys sort of a pretty loud hint. If you already know me and what kind of books I read, I feel like this will stand out on its own and you can pretty much guess which experimental video I'll be doing. There will also be books that will be released in the next coming months that I'll be also briefly talking about as well. Also, I just want to briefly mention that we just hit 100K on here, which is insane to me, unfathomable. Like, I have yet to still take it all in. I'm still in shock. I still can't believe I've hit sort of like this huge milestone in my life. It still hasn't hit me yet that I've reached this huge milestone. All thanks to you guys, honestly. Thank you so much for sticking with me, sticking by me, coming with me on this whole journey. A lot of you guys since the beginning and some of you guys newcomers, but thank you all in all. Grateful for you guys, grateful for this community. Please let me know down in the comments below any ideas, any suggestions on how I should commemorate this. If you guys want like another Q&A, if you guys want like a live stream. All right, and with that being said, let me show you guys my summer backlist TBR. All right, so first up we have a couple of Haruki Murakami's books. I've been meaning for so long to get through his books now. I think it's been pretty much a year at this point where I stated in a video that I hope to get around, where I believe it was Kafka on the Shore. And here we are, a year later. It didn't work out, but it's okay because these are pretty much up there on my TBR. I feel like his books, what I've heard so far, are books where I think I'll have a lot of fun with, going off on what other people have said about his books. They're like really vague, filled with meanings, full of life, and just a lot of metaphors, and full of prose, and all that with a dash of magical realism. So I have two of his more notable works. I've heard a lot of great things about them, so pretty excited to get into these. Alright, next up I'm hoping to complete and finish the next two books in the Liveship Trilogy by Roland and Hobb. I already have read and completed the first book, The Ship of Magic, and honestly it was good, but not as good as I was expecting it to be because most of the characters in that book, even though they were really fleshed out, they were just annoying as hell. And I'm hoping in the next book, The Matchship, that there's going to be some redemption arc. And I'm hoping that some of these characters, some of the more notable irritating ones, such as Malta, I'm hoping will go through some tumultuous, tremendous, life-changing course of events. I did start this a while back, 60 pages in, but as you can see, these books are pretty hefty and pretty big. But in my humble opinion, size does not matter. If you haven't already, I actually made a full dedicated video talking about the first trilogy in this whole series, the Farseer Trilogy, where I completely gushed on how it was pretty much one of the greatest fantasy trilogies I've ever read in my entire life. So you can definitely check that out and read the books for yourself because they're utterly fantastic. All right, so next one, we have some literary works. The first one up being Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. I feel like I'm pretty much the only person who has yet to read a book by Toni Morrison, and I feel like this summer it's all gonna change. I feel like I have seen and heard so much about Toni Morrison and how incredible her work is, of how much of a prolific author she is, the messages in her books, and just overall a profound literary genius with a huge impact on the contemporary genre. So I was doing some research on Toni Morrison and her books, and I feel like this is one of her more prominent novels and a good place to start. So I found this and picked this up at his bookstore, and this one primarily follows an African-American man living in Michigan from birth to adulthood, and that is pretty much all I know to that extent. If you have read Toni Morrison and have other suggestions regarding her books and work, please let me know down in the comments below. I would definitely like to know. Alright, so next up we have The Sympathizer by Viet Thanh Nguyen. So if you guys didn't know, I'm Vietnamese. In my whole reading experience and journey, I haven't read a lot of Vietnamese books or books from Vietnamese authors. So I'm actually reading this coinciding with a book club, actually. I'll be buddy reading this with Jenny over from The Story Ain't Over. I'll be reading this with her for her book club, the Reading Color Book Club, in September, I believe. I do want to get a bit of an early head start in this, just because I want some time to soak everything in. The Sympathizer primarily follows a half French, half Vietnamese man who arranges to come to America to start a new life in Los Angeles, while also simultaneously reporting back to his communist superiors in Vietnam. So already, I can already see themes of the exploration of identity, loss, so very excited to see what this book is all about. Next up, we actually have a really popular release, and this is The Midnight Library by Matt Hague. I feel like there was a certain time last year where I just saw this book being read everywhere by everyone, and I've actually heard a lot of mixed things about this. So I saw this book a while back and picked it up because it sounded so interesting to me. It primarily follows this young woman who enters this library. There are books that are comprised of the different choices that the main character would have made in her life. And at the end of the day, it begs the question, what is the best way to live your life? And so I feel like this one will hit deep on so many levels. I feel like it's honestly a feat in of itself that I've managed to avoid any form of spoilers or fully knowing what this book is about. Just because every single time where I've seen or heard this book being talked on BookTube, I think my brain would just like gloss over, or I would just skip those certain parts of that book just because of how much attention and hype that this book has gotten, that I sort of wanted to form my own opinion for myself. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. All right, so next up on my list is Once Upon a River and the 13th Tale, all by Diane Setterfield. All right, so the main reasons why I'm picking these books up on my TBR is because they've been on my TBR for quite a while now. From what I've seen and heard of these books, I feel like these books could potentially become my next favorite just because they contain a lot of the things that I love reading in books. So both of these books are set in the real world, but they also have a huge heavy dose of magical realism, which I love to read in books. This one primarily follows a family with an emphasis on storytelling, like storytelling is a huge part and aspect of this book. This one primarily follows the disappearances of these 3 missing girls, and one of them returns. And from the blurb, it sort of combines folklore and science, magic and myth. Don't know how it's all gonna go down, but I'm immensely excited to read both of these books. Alright, so next up we have The Wolf and the Wolfman by Ava Reed. So this one is also another hyped, beloved fantasy book that I've seen a lot of people raving about. All I know about this book is that it primarily follows a young woman with hidden powers who teams up with a one-eyed captain of the woodsman to overthrow an evil tyrant. This was also recommended to me a countless number of times because I read and liked Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik and The Nightingale and the Bear by Catherine Arden, because what all 3 books have in common is that they're both very heavy in terms of like the fairy tale like lore and magic that they have going on, and so I'm very excited to see what this is all about. I've also seen this book blowing up on Book Talk as well. Definitely has that going for it. So next up, obviously I couldn't have a TBR without including a thriller, so we have The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. Even though this TBR is mostly filled with like literary fiction and speculative fiction, I'm hoping that in the fall and in the upcoming winter months that I'll be hopefully more focused on reading more thrillers, because I feel like thrillers to me are sort of like my roots, if you will, because I feel like back in the day, that was what my audience came to me for. Thriller recommendations. That's also how a lot of you guys found my channel, through the videos that I posted. Those are also my highest viewed videos as well, and so hopefully come fall, I'll get back into that. Anyways, back to The Night Shift. This one primarily follows 3 different people across 2 different events and incidents that happened over time. The first one happened at a Blockbuster video store where 4 teenagers are attacked and only one of them survives. And subsequently, 15 years later, another group of teenagers working at an ice cream store are also attacked and only one of them survives. And so in the aftermath, they follow these 3 different people, an FBI agent, the lone survivor of the Blockbuster incident, and the brother of the fugitive who is accused of the crime that happened years ago. So this one sounds really promising. It's also really short as well, so I take it that it's really fast-paced, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. And even though this one does have a really high, solid rating on Goodreads, you and I both know that does not fucking matter, because we all know Goodreads sometimes, that score, that rating, fucking rigged. Anyways, we'll see how this goes. Really excited to get into this. Alright, so before I continue with the last book on my TBR list, I also want to point out some new releases that are also coming out that I plan on reading as well. So first up, we also have another thriller, and this one I'll be reading with Kayla for her book club, the Literally Dead book club, and we will be reading The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This one will be Riley's latest release after his other book, Survive the Night, which, in all honesty, was one of the worst thrillers I've ever read, so hopefully he'll redeem himself with this one. But I don't know, it sounds really basic AF. Follows this nosy woman in her cabin, and she witnesses something across the lake that she isn't supposed to see. And I don't know, I've read and heard so many thrillers like this before, but it's Riley Sager, who knows? He could put a new twist, this whole new revelation on this big trope that we all know and have read from before, but we'll see. Fingers crossed it'll be a good one. And this one actually comes out at the end of this month, so pretty excited to see. So the next summer book that I'm immensely excited for is the release of the 13th book in one of my favorite series of all time, the Mercy Thompson books. This one is Soul Taken by Patricia Briggs. Unfortunately, it comes out at the end of August, so it'll be a long time wait, but I just know it'll definitely be worth it. Alright, so the last summer release, also releasing at the end of August, is A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Roland. All I know about this one, all I need to know about this one is that it's a gay romance following a soft prince and his cold, cool bodyguard. That's all I need to know. It's adult fantasy and it comes out at the end of summer. It sounds absolutely perfect in every way and the cover is just chef's kiss. So before we continue any further, I would like to take a moment to thank today's video sponsor. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which you can create your website, connect with your audience, and generate revenue through gated members-only content. From there, you can manage your members, send email communications, and leverage audience insights, all on one easy-to-use platform. You can essentially create a community on your Squarespace website with fully integrated commenting system that supports comments, replies, and likes. You can also use their powerful blogging tools to also categorize, share, and schedule your posts, and even utilize their great third-party tools and extensions including inventory, promoting products, and even streamlined bookkeeping. Squarespace also makes it easy to display posts from your social profiles on your website where you can automatically push website content to your favorite social media channels so that your followers can share it too. There are so many creative frames, templates, and themes to choose from. It's all super easy and engaging to use, and you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace/ellias to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Everything will be linked below, and thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Alright, last and not least, speaking of gay romance, we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Mcquisten. I don't even need to explain what this book is about because I'm pretty sure I'm like literally the last gay person on earth who has yet to read this book. The reason why I'm putting it on my TBR as is because I just found out a couple days ago that this is being made into a movie, and the cast that was just announced, listen, the cast that was just announced got me excited for the movie than the actual book itself. But this book, I think is like second to Song of Achilles that I've seen hyped by everyone, everywhere, across all platforms. Everywhere that I've seen it, everyone has just been raving about this. Everyone has just been loving it. I mean, who knows? Maybe I might be part of the 1%. I'm just gonna be like, guys, this is the worst, absolute fucking worst book I've ever read in my entire life. Come for me. I absolutely do not care. Kidding, of course, because you already know me. I'm not the type of person who rains on your parade most of the time. But yeah, this is sort of an enemies to friends to lovers type of book, and I'm a little hesitant and wary going into this just because obviously I've heard so many good things about it, right? But then again, history might repeat itself because you already know what went down with Song of Achilles. So we shall definitely see if history will repeat itself again and if this will become an all-new fave. Alright, and so that is essentially my backlist summer TBR. Please let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these books or what books you're also planning to read for this summer season. Alright, and with that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all soon with a new video.
Hi!
Where are comics books? Oh my gosh, my nose itchy. Oh my gosh, my nose itches. I'm hoping that in the fall, and I'm hoping that oh my god. Oh my fucking god, bitch. Am I allergic to something? What the fuck is this? Is A Taste of Gold and Iron. Fuck you.